Wow, it's so heavy. Do you think you could handle it? Thrive, heavy lies the crown. Hello again there, friends and fans. Raptor here, and I'm back for more. Yet another city builder here on the channel, but this is something special. Finally, the full 1.0 release of Thrive, Heavy Lies the Crown. It's a city builder, it's a military RTS type game, it's a colony game too with expansion, and it's also multiplayer. But the best thing, yeah, it's out now. It's fully released. We've taken a look at this one time and time again over its development and beta, but it is nice to see that Thrive, Heavy Lies the Crown has fully released for everyone. It's got multiplayer, it's got base building, it's got all the things I love, and can't wait to play some more. So thanks again to Thrive for sponsoring today's video. Thanks to them for telling me that the game is finally out in full 1.0, and thanks to all of you for tuning in to see a game where we can be a benevolent leader, you know, like a kind of a good, I don't know, think of Gandalf the Grey or whatnot, or evil and tyrannical like most of the dark and gritty dark fantasy games that you see. I don't know, it's a great mix, and I think it's a great fit for the channel and a wonderful genre for many of you. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take our first look at the full release of Thrive, Heavy Lies the Crown. We're going to jump into some single player here. I just wanted to show off the map real quick to kind of show you how it is to set up in, you know, single player or multiplayer. Essentially, we choose a location to start our city, and then we can settle all these little colonies around them, and that allows us to get more and more resources to ship back to like the main capital, our main city. So kind of cool that we get to build one big city and then also a bunch of little settlements around it, and those can also help us to defend or attack the enemy. You know, we can send troops to those locations and then eventually take over the whole map. And it's the same with friends, where they get to maybe settle next to you or across the map, and you can work on goals and objectives together or mess with each other. Who cares? Who knows? I don't know. It's your game and you choose. All right, so luckily the developers have provided me with some late game saves that allow us to take a look at a ton of built up cities that they have tinkered around with, and also some military battles too. So let's jump in and see how it goes. Oh, look at that, our benevolent city. So this is like our command center, aka the keep or town hall, whatever you'd like to call it. And this is the benevolent city. So we are going to see a little bit more on the, I guess, lovely side of medieval looking buildings and factories and structures and military units and whatnot. In a little while, I'll take a look at the military RTS stuff in the game. And also, just so you know, this is a kind of a different build than what will be the 1.0 full release. It's a little early, so some things are still subject to change as the developers are putting in some more things and making last minute tweaks. So this is as close as we're getting to the 1.0, and it looks really nice. I like the look of the walls. I like the look of the towers. This structure here is a foundry, so we're taking things like, well, actually we could process gold, iron, steel, and glass here, and there probably are a few of these actually doing that. And it looks like they're taking water from an irrigation system. This isn't a wall at all. It's actually an aqueduct. That's cool. And it's irrigating these little buildings here, and maybe even some farms and stuff. It looks like it goes all around the city, so it's doing a number of things, including a bathhouse. Look at this. We got a, wow, we're doing so good. We've actually got like a water park in our city, which is also nicely decorated too. We've got little flower pots and trees and things around. So an ample amount of attention to detail with those structures like that, and also little kind of personal parks that you can build. Here, this isn't a structure, it's actually somebody custom making, you know, a park with 4 little statues and a beautiful fountain and a cherry tree in the middle too. But this is, I think, something here. Yeah, the curator house, which is very nice there. No, actually, sorry, the Gardens of Bliss. And that's cool. Look at around our mouse, there's a little highlight of the light, like we have a flashlight. Very cool. So these are the curator houses here, and these are some more advanced homes for our citizens. But whenever you start in this game, you're essentially taking a keep and putting it down, and then building smaller houses around it. So farmers and workers are still going to have to work here, and there are all sorts of different classes of citizens represented in order to get all the things done. Oh, is there? Whoa, hold on. There's a little forced combat here. What's going on? Are we under attack? What's going on? Hey, there's our map. Cool. So the forces in purple are like our enemies right now, and this is where we were, I think, just a moment ago. And this shows all the resources inside of our town, so things like apples and access to flax and essentially other types of fertility or minerals that are there. And then the neighboring towns have more different types of resources, so we have more fertile grounds. We can expand our farming, but also fishing too. And this town over here looks like it is supplying even more, and might have some military units there too. You can see the influence cost on that one is 40, and the influence cost on this one is 40, and this one is 40 as well. So they're all somewhat the same, but all different sizes too. Great expansion, bringing different resources to the main city. Now we're going to try to capture and maybe conquer this town here. If we zoom in on it, they got a really cool looking castle. In fact, there's kind of like a cathedral, towers, castle. It really reminds me of what you see in Anno, which we're all big fans of here on the channel. And this game definitely is trying to, and does very well of creating kind of a fantasy version of that. With instead of islands, we have a large continent, and this is a small section of one to where, you know, there's a large fortified city, all sorts of different homes and gardens, and maybe even military posts and towers and things like that, and a little escape hatch out the back. Check that out. There's a little boat waiting, so we'll see what happens. But we can actually attack this town, which is really cool. There's a little secret entrance to this place. I have to kind of look around for it. There we go. This is where we want to launch an attack. Look at that. They very cheaply reinforced their wall here. It's a palisade, and they've got military units here, some trebuchets or catapults, and you know, troops with footmen, shields, and swords, but not too many here. So we could bust right down that gate and flank their military. And you can see all their military units here. And so you've got archers and, well, ranged units and melee units, cavalry, siege weapons, and they've got another layer of defense here with towers guarding their walls. So they've got walls, and then, of course, troops on those walls, gates, and then towers defending that. So this is something we're going to have to eventually take over, as well as other cities in purple. So as we attack, we can actually push forward towards the main enemy capital by pushing through these territories. Although this is completely grayed out because we haven't been there yet. But I'm assuming we can see the main capital because it's our main objective. So pretty cool. Anyway, now that it's daytime and nighttime is over, I wanted to take a little closer look here at some of the military units. We'll do some combat soon, but I did want to point out that a lot of these units are being made from this kind of blight that's happening in the land. You'll see some purple mist from time to time, and up here they call it the Walgrim presence. And so it is something that will eventually increase and can give us good things. There could actually be a good bonus provided from that, and so getting more military units and having bonuses for our military or our town is something that can happen with that too. So we got a big old kitty here, the Link Beast, and then also, of course, our the citizens. Actually, they're named here. These are champions that their units are named, but you actually see they're named. So there's their unit name, Heavy Cavalry, and then Avriel Klimt is there as a cavalryman. So pretty cool, actually. So we can make these units here. We can put them into these towers as well. These guard towers can be filled with archers. You can see here that we got Bella Nixon here, who's a bowman. And we can build defenses on the outside, and then the inside here, the towers can be manned as well. Maybe if these get destroyed, we can use the walls as a fallback position. And the wall's not yet fully complete, but that is somewhere the enemy's going to have to attack from the front, because it looks like we're completely protected by water and mountains around us. So lakes, rivers, and large mountains provide us with protection, and areas that we're not protected from, you can see are walled off here. So very strategic. This unit here that's moving on the ground is also a supply convoy that goes back and forth. So a lot of things here are not just for looking pretty, they're actually a function, and that could be a supply wagon coming to and from our city, supplying our other colonies and whatnot. So very cool. So when you start small in this game, you have to start with just like apples and you know, simple farming and simple home building. So you're doing a lot of cutting down of trees, a lot of farming, and a lot of building these grid neighborhoods. And you don't really get a lot of ways to give variety to your people. And I think that's a good thing, because you're really, at the beginning of the game, focused on survival, and you're just clinging to life after you get here, after a essentially running from the Walgrim in your original cities and continents in your homeland. And now we're trying to start a new homeland here. And so we're taking traditions from our people in those homelands and putting them to work here, including putting to work some horses or mules at the flax mill. So we're taking knowledge of things that we know, like how to you know, take flax and turn that into cloth and linen, and then turn that into clothing. And throughout the game, they'll provide you with events, kind of like in Frostpunk, where something will come up and there's a conversation between multiple characters, and your advisors will try to, you know, there's a military advisor, your financial advisor, and kind of your a steward who tries to guide you somewhere between both of them. And they do a very good job of trying to get you to kind of pick a side, which will provide you with certain benefits to certain problems or opportunities. So this looks nice here. Look at this too, the artisan. There's an issue detected with it. The game does an incredible good amount of like different types of, I was going to say jobs, but like it links everything in together very well here in these menus to break things down as we've seen in many other game. Here we have ourselves a like the artisan who's making stained glass, wine barrels, jewelry, and lanterns, and so they do a good job of showing you what you're making, which here is jewelry, and then showing you what it's supplied with, or other things that it could be supplied with. So to make those items up top, we can choose one, and they'll kind of retrofit themselves to make that item, and this kind of applies to a lot of other things, like for example, weapons maker, or let's just say, let's say we were making alcohol or something like that. If it were done in this game, then it would be done this way. And so obviously we're making wine at a certain point, and wine barrels will be needed for that production. So all the things that go into that, planks and lanterns, iron ingots, thread, more ingots, oil, those types of things are all supplied here, and or outputs. So this building has some storage before things are shipped away, like for example the stained glass, and then they're taken. So as we make stained glass from all those things, maybe not all these are needed in that construction, but the building can store those things and be easily switched between multiple different goods. So a lot of things here are melting, smelting gold. We see gold ore here, and so it's full up on that, but then it was switched to steel ingots. So at any time you can switch your buildings from one thing to another, and start producing something else if there's not a surplus. So very cool. This is something we've seen in a lot of games, and I think this is really important to kind of pay attention to, that we're seeing a very nice clean UI. This is something that kind of worries me in a lot of games. When you get a tremendous amount of things going on, it is very hard to find out where everything is. But here we have a wealth breakdown, and so you can see what you're spending on your military or maintenance. So honestly, this might seem a little boring, but it's incredibly important in a game where you're going to be building a lot and worrying about economics. And I know many of you are like that here on the channel, where you want to know what's going on. So what are we producing? Where is it going? That type of thing. You can see your, like your population, your different classes, their happiness, and then materials for that too. And then again, if we click on the logs, then we have a more detailed breakdown on other types of materials. And also we can switch this, which I really like. So if you wanted to more precisely keep an eye on rough stones, you just click that and change it. That's a small thing. That's a big difference to me. More games need to do what this one has done, and it lets you do that with every single one of these. I'm seeing some games still not do this, and I just think that's phenomenal, because if you're focused on building your military now, you might be looking at more like wood and steel to see what it's like to build your weapons for war, so shields and arrows and things like that. So you'll be paying attention more to that. If we click here at the little exclamation point, it does a great job of providing us with introductions to things. The games campaign is an outstanding way to learn how to play, and it's really like recommended to do that. And so it one, builds onto the story, 2, introduces new game mechanics, and then 3, kind of keeps you entertained in a tutorial where you can meet all sorts of characters like this. And so she's wondering, hey, where do we begin? What should we do? We can then make a choice. And this is also what makes us more tyrannical or benevolent. So as you're playing, you're making choices as you go through all the different kind of tiers, or the ages, or whatever you'd like to call it, or acts, really. As we get later in the acts, at the beginning, it's all about survival, and then towards the mid and end, it's all about building up a military to crush everyone. So, we can ask them, what do they know about the enemy military? There's our military advisor there, Sir Hayward. He knows a lot about protection, and he's like kind of I think our personal bodyguard or retinue, and so they'll chat back and forth, and many characters can be questioned too. So it's not just that, we're making choices, and then eventually we can ask for further information from people like, for example, Will Riker over here, or Jeff Bezos. No, but these guys, for real though, the dukes and the sages and the chancellors are all kind of having their own, they're always pushing their own agendas. They have their own interests. So you have to think about how that's going to benefit you and what you want to do in this game. And when you're playing multiplayer, these are things you have to navigate through too, is, do I want to fight my neighbor for resources? Yes or no? And if so, you got to go through all these dialogue trees to kind of get there, and, try to figure out what's going on. So you can ask people questions multiple times, and, learn more about it, or finally make a decision, and then kind of move forward from there. And then when you make your decision, let's strive to move forward or whatever, then there's a bonus for it. Yeah, so we got 1,500 coins from that, and so there's a lot of reading to do, but it builds onto the story. It is a good thing, and I think it's something that I want to see more games do too, where if you're forced to make a decision, it's not just a story development thing of characters just chatting to do so, but 1, it builds onto the story, 2, it teaches you something new, and then 3, provides you with a reward, or possibly a debuff for paying attention and doing things, or keeping your people happy, that type of thing. All right, I know we're all ready for a military attack, so what I want to do here is not necessarily attack very well, but I just want to show what all the military units will do. So as we attack with the Benevolent forces, we're going to get everybody out of their towers and see if we can stack them up. Now, again, we can make way more units than this, and this army is nowhere near sufficient or significant enough. And of course, I'm not going to spoil this game and its ending by attacking and then just showing you the credits or whatnot, or if that even happens. But we're just going to show what it's like to move all your forces and move from city to city. So another thing I like is that we can see our forces from here, and we can give them commands. So we could tell them to move over to this city if we want to, and build up all of our forces into one large attack. So what we should do actually is move up here, where we know the enemy has a weakness kind of from that cliff. So we're going to tell everybody who is in our military to start moving that away, and then you'll see them start marching towards the position that we indicated. There they go. So they're going out in formation and moving towards the enemy. I love this. It reminds me of like Age of Mythology or Age of Empires. It is this game is not trying to reinvent the wheel. It's just trying to perfect it and take modern classics and modern games and kind of put them all together. And that is a good mix, man. That is a good stew. And I need to see more of this. Also, another thing I like to comment on, the flora and the fauna in a world, specifically like how different rocks and the world looks, so bushes and grasses and things like that. We could have a boring old blank canvas of ground, but this doesn't do that. You can see different types of elevations and slopes, different details of rocks and tree stumps around, little flowers, and you know, like overturned logs and junk and stuff like that. So it does a great job of making this world feel alive and lived in, rather than just kind of being a flat, massive map to be able to fight and build on, which I don't want that. And that's not what this is, and that's good. That's a very good thing. So rest of our forces are coming along very nicely. Let's speed them up then. And as our forces move towards the objective, they may be attacked on the way too. So they're going to move up this road, and then we're going to try to hit them over there. Now, again, our attack is not going to succeed, but I just want to see what it all looks like when they do attack. So it looks like there's a fog of war here too that they're uncovering as they move, and enemy forces, I believe, can fight us out in the map too, not just at the cities. So you can fight a war of defense or a war of siege, or even fight out here in the field. So you have a lot of options to be able to hinder your enemy in their movements. So you can attack I believe you could attack their convoys and things like that, or at least intimidate them. And I'm thinking about if you're playing with another player, you know, I'd get worried if I saw an enemy force kind of moving towards me and not really giving me space, and maybe threatening my convoys here, which do have health. Caravan number 4, you can see the trade routes here. A great amount of detail in this game. There's not enough time in today's video to go over all the stuff that's going on here, but I really think it's a great combination of all the games that I've mentioned and know and love here on the channel tremendously. Oh, there's enemy forces there. We can mess them up. Let's get into a little bit of a fight. There we go. So we had our forces kind of just on move fast down the road, but now we're fully attacking. So now you can see our units at play here and some of their abilities. We have the ability to give them different types of formations, and that's cool. Line formations will give them a little bit more of an advantage and disadvantage in certain different skills, so like movement speed or attack speed or defense, that type of thing. And also you can set them on patrols too. So the enemy must have been attacking us, or thinking about attacking us. Maybe not anymore. They were sending their trebuchets out, so we'll make sure we destroy those siege weapons. And it looks like the enemy's quite powerful. They were able to destroy a lot of our people there. But, you know, we weren't looking for any sort of a fight. I just want to see some fighting here. Yeah, there we go. And I think it's probably recommended that you don't fight until later. Obviously, as late as possible is good. You'll have the most amount of upgrades. You'll have the most amount of units prepared. Looks like those trebuchets do a good job of being like a missile. Looks like they can target one individual soldier or group and immediately kill them. Look at how quickly they can kind of just kill everybody. Very cool. All right, let's see Big Kitty here. I'm going to send Big Kitty in. Try to take out that unit there. Yeah, he has a much higher movement speed. Look at that. So taking out siege weapons is a very high priority, and then doing so with cavalry and then foot troops too. But anyway, let's go take a look at some of our other cities. I just wanted to show off that we have much more than just the, you know, the main city to build in. Let's go ahead and get rid of this trade menu here. There we go. And again, we have event logs here to keep track of everything. We have statistics in the game. These are all the basics, but a lot of games don't have these, and so this is why it's really well put together with different types of tiers of knowledge, aka research, statistics. We also have diplomacy here, so we can try to befriend other cities and things like that. Our trade menu we saw before. Edicts too, so we can gain bonuses from that. And then also jobs, where you can assign people and also prioritize certain buildings or industries too. Yeah, you can see more of that stuff blowing around, yeah. But anyway, this is another city that was built. It looks like this one's making a lot of wheat and shipping that back to the main city so they can have bread. But also this city is fortified a little bit. So it's got, you know, a guard tower there. And also an infirmary too. So ready for any sort of maybe a military attacks. It looks like it should be able to heal anybody within its area of influence. Yeah, so if an army was here and getting attacked, then they would be able to heal up. And that'd be a great thing. And then, of course, little fishing docks here, too, because we did see fish coming in. Look at that. They built it on the rocks. Cool. Very nice. All right, well, that's enough for the Benevolent now, and that's good to see all their different colonies and some of the fighting. But I want to see the Tyrannical stuff, and then maybe we'll try to win a fight. But my goal is not going to be to conquer the main castle today, but it's going to be to try to go up here to the crossroads and at least break down that enemy wall and then get into their base and make them all mad. They clearly outnumber us, but the Benevolent forces feel too good. Let's try Tyrannical and see if they can be crazy and crush the enemy. All right, time to get evil, or well, like medieval. All right, this is now the Tyrannical leader, and we're going to see a much different setup in the structures. Think Conan the Barbarian and thralls and things like that. It's very cool, and probably not a way I'd play. I'd probably go more benevolent and try to be as good to my people as possible. But you get these different buildings, and of course different military units and styles for your walls and things like that. If you go between the two different, let's call them factions or whatnot, like the different ways to play. So we have ourselves a little military clash over there. We'll get to that military stuff in a bit, but I wanted to point out the specific differences between the two factions. And again, remember, now that we're seeing 1.0 in this game, some things, you know, might be a little different between this video and 1.0, but the massive difference between what the game looked like during its kind of 1.0 stuff. Ooh, Thralls collected. Very nice. During the early access stuff, up until now, or betas or what have you, it's great to see this game now having all these different features and buildings and units and details. You know, you see people moving quick in this city, moving and shaking, man. People are trying to get things done. We have ourselves like a cobblestone path here and different types of basic structures like wood choppers, which are in charge of making firewood for your people to not freeze to death, or for other industries. But then here we see the flax mill, kind of like before. You know, this is set up to be optimized, but this is a completely different city indeed. If we take a look at the map here, you can see we've got a different color. Before we were green, now we're red, and we're more in the lower left corner of the map. But there's a lot of enemy cities here. If we take a look at one of the outposts, you can also see some things being constructed and you know, being set up, and that's cool. There's a lot of different things going on here. Looks like that actually is some ruins outside, and there's our castle walls. Very nice. Defenses, big towers, and even some differences to the pits too. You can hear whips cracking. People are mining stuff from the quarries. We've got, looks like sand and large stone blocks. And it looks like there's also rough stone to be gathered from there too. So they're gathering all that up, as well as maybe a few other things for their existence here. And then they're shipping it off. Look at that human crane going on. The human power. Like, is that at the mines? Yeah, they got some mines going. So they're probably using that to pull mine carts out of the hill there. So you can imagine that they've got large veins of ore there. Looks like they're also, oh, you can see here uncut gems, gold ore, coal, and iron ore as well. So that's being shipped over to our main city, where we'll take a look then at the iron processing, because that's always a wonder to see. Let's go over this way. There we go. So this is where we're gathering all of the iron and then processing that into, well, some things like glass being made out of sand. We've also got steel ingots, iron ingots, and gold too. And then those are all being forged there. And yeah, a lot of work going on there. A lot of work. Look at this building, a winery. I think there's a house of ill repute or something around here too. Got a cattle ranch there. Are we making milk there? Oh, we're making beef. Okay. That's what's for dinner. Military works, nice. And then a lot of little thrall hovels here. So that's where all of our, let's call them apprentices and new hires are. And then the primitive stockpile, which you can see supplies all these areas too. So you got to worry about all these little factors that tie in when you're building your cities. It's not just to make it look cool and fashionable, which you can absolutely do now with all the different types of decorations. But then, of course, you can also, wow, maybe even put walls around these areas too. And it looks like exactly what happened here. It's a very important area. This, you know, steel manufacturer. Looks like they're also, oh, decorating with some decayed trees. But guard towers, a wall, and all the different artisans and things here definitely show that it's an incredibly important military hub for the city and for this whole empire, because that's exactly where everything's being, you know, gathered and produced. Even flour there, too. If we take a look at the buildings, which I didn't do yet before, you can kind of see all the different types of structures that you can start with, and then things that can be expanded upon in the future. So, you know, obviously, if you make a iron mine, that can then eventually lead to a blacksmith who then makes iron ingots and steel ingots into tools and weaponry. So you can make a area just for tools or an area just for your weapons, and same with the bow and fletcher. And then you've got all these new types of things that we didn't see before. Thrall structures, so stoneworks, flour mills, some of those things you may have seen before. And then we've also got some structures for the acolytes. So things like the House of Debauchery. That's what we want to build. That's what I want to do. We'll plop that down somewhere near the acolytes. They're living over here, I think, and they may already have one of these things. But why not a second, right? If you got one good barbecue chicken or grilled chicken place or whatever, why not build a second one? Let's plop that down and see how it goes. And then, of course, we can decorate lovely with spiked heads. Oh, isn't that nice? And then a graveyard there too, some flags if you want to. I like this because in other games such as Stronghold, this was a fun thing to do with spiked heads. So if you're a big fan of that game, I think you're going to love this one too. And some of those strategies that may have appealed to you long ago will certainly appeal here. And then there's our military stuff. So military structures including armories, barracks, wood fences. We got wood walls, wooden gates, and then different types of additional walls too. So we got stone walls here that are going to be very strong and very important for the outer defenses, and they're much bigger. Look at that. Crazy huge compared to the palisade. But it's good to have double defense, right? Just in case they get past the... That's why you live in a double-gated community. You don't want them to get past... If they get past the first gate, then you got the second one there. And look at the military units we got now. A jackal beast. Are those spiders? What is that? What is this? A Gilbert Sturmer. No, I'm just kidding. It's a Ravager. Right. And tons of other military units here. Okay. So we're going to try to get our military together. Let's get everyone together if we can. And try to go for a big attack. We're going to gather everybody over here. Love the fact that you can do this from the world map. I think that's really cool. And we'll get everyone over there. And then we're going to have them head out probably this road and then up to the right. What do we got going on over here at the coast? Another cool city. Look at that. And yeah, they're just getting started with food stores, primitive stockpile for basics, and then wood chopper. And yeah, the first things first, you start cutting down trees and, you know, gathering all those logs to then make lumber, well, planks and beams and things of that nature. Very cool stuff. Very cool stuff. What do we got here? Sudentu. A couple of buildings turned off. The same deal as before, though, the infirmary, in order to protect the troops. Instead of building walls, you could just put troops there and then have them kind of resupply or reheal at the infirmary. I like that. And by the way, check this out. We didn't really take too long of a look at this yet. The beautiful keep. And you can see the just awesome, like, vampire, like, slash... I don't know, there's like a little bit of a Nordic Scandinavian vibe to this. There's a little Transylvania here. There's a little, I don't know, Eastern Europe, Central Europe. Very cool. There's a lot of different flavors here going on with all the, I guess, the centerpieces or the buildings that really define the tyrannical leadership. So, you know, everybody's going to see the stockpile. It should be the same for both, and same with the farmer's house. It's just an A-frame with, you know, like some thatch on there, but it's cool to see. And I love to see the acolytes, too, showing off how different things look. The look of the game is outstanding. It's really good. And then, of course, the construction down here is all the same. Did our house of, what was it called again? The Debauchery, House of Debauchery is built. Looks like we got to connect that with a road, so let's do that. There's logistics. We got a dirt road. We got bridges, too. And then, of course, you can mark buildings, or rather, structures or things in nature, stones and logs to be able to be cut down. You can give permission for that. So mining things like iron ore, logging. So if you want to clear an area of trees because you want to build a neighborhood there, but you don't really need the wood, then you can do that. Just tell them to clear only certain trees. Build a nice big old entrance there. That looks cool. Nice. And there goes that day-night cycle. Is everybody ready? Is our military here? Got some units over here, do we? I'm not sure if those are military units. But again, we're not looking to win a fight. I want you to be able to do that when you get the game. Again, link down below in the description, and definitely play with some friends. I want to get my friends into this one as well. I think this would be great for something along the lines of like, you know, those who like the classic RTS era. Love that. Looks like some of our units here have been hurt on their way here. We're going to try to go out, I think, the right side. Actually, maybe we should attack from the north. Let's go north, and then we'll try to go around and flank from the east. See if we can do that. All right, so the troops are moving out. Can we tell them on attack move? Let's see if we can actually tell them to attack instead of just move. Okay, that made a sound difference, so hopefully that counts. So I want them to move that way, but attack anybody who's from the enemy forces if they try to stop them. Looks like our forces here have a... this is nice. Attack values, range values, defense, and speed. A portrait of the unit. Their health, as well as some other stats for them. And that is a heavy... Was that a heavy spearman there? Heavy spearman, yeah. So they're going to move on out that way. Good stuff. Well, while we wait, I just wanted to take a look a little bit more of the details here while they get out there. I want to show as much love to the Tyrannical and Benevolent as I can, like the equal amount. But I must say I lean a little bit more Benevolent. But look at those fat pigs, man. Those pigs are ready to pop. Look at that. They are ready to go. And looks like they're making pork here. And then next door we got wool from all the sheep. So that'll go towards clothing. And it looks like Act 1. Should be, I think we're well into Act 3, but yeah, who knows. All good. Oh, what do we have here? Treasured continued. Happiness. Okay. Gold coins from farmers, right? Some old things there coming up. Don't worry about all that stuff. We're really here just to see how the game differs from what it was before. And I think the full 1.0 version, like the complete polished version that will drop on Steam very shortly after this video, or after I'm done making it, will much even better show off the game than before. I mean, honestly, this game, when it releases into 1.0, will only get better than that as well, because these developers are absolutely listening and want to make an even better game. So if you have any things that you want different, or that you love, or would like to be changed or whatnot, or avenues for them to explore, make mention of that on Steam and just say, hey, I love the game and I want to see big monuments or something like that. But for now we have execution areas, which is cool. So people literally going into an arena and being killed by that big old crab scorpion dealy thingy there. So that's cool. And it looks like it's actually fighting a snake. It looks like there's a snake that's kind of trying to crush them, and they're fighting it out. Look at all that blood. So people have some entertainment for the weekends, I guess, or at least the acolytes. That's cool. So a couple of different neighborhoods with different vibes going on. Again, Transylvania, a little dark vibe going on, some trees going down the main avenue. Good sense of decoration for sure. Fun to do when you're kind of waiting for things to happen. You give all the orders and then you wait for them to be complete, and just takes time. Oh, also, I don't think we deployed our troops from here. Let's get our ranged units moving up that way. Are these just 2 units? Just 2 people? Oh, I removed 1. There we go. Come on out, folks. There we go. Some of them are wounded. There must have been a big battle or something. I'm not sure exactly why they're fully wounded yet. But again, big game. There's a lot of things to learn here, and is a game that you probably want to play for the first time on slow, and try to play the way that you are more likely to survive, that you're more comfortable with, and then start to challenge yourself with different, maybe unwinnable scenarios where you're like, I don't really do this often. I don't play this way often, so let me try this. And then you just experiment, which is cool. Experimentation in these games is a lot of fun. All right, our units are under attack move now, heading up north there. Look at that, 70 days into the game. We can see again all the different materials here. It looks like essentially the same things as the Benevolent forces have. I don't see anything different for them, but the buildings certainly are different, and so are some of the units we're seeing here too. Looks like we're out in the wilderness. You can see them heading down the old dusty trail. Getting ready for some combat. Forces should be there soon. So yeah, as always, you want to keep all your units together and have them ready for anything. We have some archers here at a settlement, but we'll keep them there because it's probably not as easy to defend a settlement that has small walls, and our main settlement, which can easily pump out troops because of the population and money there. So that'll be cool. Oh, somebody's getting killed by a guard tower there. Oh, looks like they just destroyed that. There was a tower there, and we just immediately destroyed that. Nothing stopping us. Good job. All right, let's get our forces. Oh, can we do a control group? Let me just check and see if we can do one control. Yeah, we can. Perfect. A classic. You know, select your group, hit control 1, and then you can come on back to them. Look at that population, almost 1,000 too. That's a lot of people. All right. And they're going at full speed now. Nothing can stop them. Except for the enemy forces. Clearly we have to build up a lot more, but this goes to show that when you attack an enemy force that you're not going to be able to just get away with it with like 10 or 20 units. You're going to need, you know, several hundred units to be able to even make a dent in the enemy's defenses and or their forces. Wait, let's see if we can give our order here. I think we need to do this from this menu. Control X, was it? Anyway, we're going to tell our forces to attack up there now. So this is another city that we can control. Anytime we find one like that, we can send a caravan there loaded up with settlers. And so when you take your, when you get your main city set up, you take people from that main city, give them all the things that they might need to start another colony, and then they can supply things back to your initial city. So again, things that aren't necessarily fertile in the other areas, like maybe, I don't know, wheat or apples or something. I think they're all pretty fertile for those basics, at least around the main city. So, but some things will get harder to find, and when you have more people, you'll need more supplies. So you might be going to 3 or 4 different places for the same thing, like wheat or iron. And so that's going to be important. All right, here they come. It's amazing too. What's really cool here is it takes them multiple days to attack. So like we probably left on like day 68, and now it's like almost day 71. So when an attack is coming, you know, it'll take days for your forces even on the roads to arrive, but the enemy could react to that if they have another city nearby. So we're going to try to break down those walls. Also, you know, there's a lot of things we should have did here, like make trebuchets and catapults. But again, we're not trying to be strategic as much. We're just trying to get all clunky with it, and only room for improvement for us. Also, time, I like that. Time slowing down when there's fires at home. Looks like, are we under attack, or... Let's go to our event page. Military is slain. Unfortunately, I can't click on that to see, but I'm assuming it's probably in the main city. More houses means more chance for fire. Just statistically how it works. And we're going to get that up on top speed. Get our forces here. And see if we can sneak in. Operation Surprise is going to... really surprise them, I hope. Oh, if we double click, it attacks. Ooh. So click 1, it sounds like, for move, and click twice to attack. Looks like an ambush along the road. Enemy forces don't stand a chance against our army. I think they're all dead. Nice job, boys. That didn't last long at all, actually. Alright, let's get ready to move. And we want to get to right around there. And we want to take care of those trebuchets. We know how dangerous those are from our previous runs, so we absolutely should be making units like these. Unfortunately, I can't read what they are. But still very cool to see that the enemy can make siege weapons and protect their base with it. I'm not sure how it'll work with, you know, us having the possibility of destroying their army. And if we can't completely destroy it, if they'll continue to rebuild it. But they certainly do have quite a bit of defenses here. The towers and the trebuchets are quite important. And their formations that they're in, too. A lot of military units. Alright, where's our army? Oh. Well, don't go bothering them. Oh. Oh, too late. Gonna weaken our military force a little bit, but still takes out these little camps. That's alright, we're gonna have plenty of enemies. Our first goal is going to be to just breach the wall. That's the best thing I think we can do. So I'm going to even tell our forces to ignore everything in their way and go all the way down to this palisade. Oh, there's another tower there. We should destroy that, though, because it could destroy or hurt incoming reinforcements. So this is the spearhead. This is the recon group. The first wave heading in. Let's see how they do. Are these our forces too? Yeah. So they're going to go for that tower there. Must be controlled by a neutral third party. Oh, and there we are. An event start called Toss a Coin. So that's again where we can speak with our leaders and our advisors and make a decision. Okay, we're destroying that. We don't like that. We hate that. Look at that, though. It looks cool. Very nice looking structure. Very fancy. All right, the big moment of truth. Let's break through their palisade and then eventually attack their castle. I don't think we'll be able to make it that far, but it is cool that we can flank and that there is a big castle there to eventually siege and take out. Another thing, too, is that like we could make a huge army and try to pin them up against their own wall and then have our forces flank that way, and that'd be quite nice. All right, here it comes. Yeah. All right, we're through. Get it, boys. Go for those trebuchets. Oh, they know they're weak. Yep. Go for those first. There we go. All right, getting close. Those are our archers back here. So we're going to try to deploy some quote-unquote tactics now. I'm gonna try some tactics, y'all. Actually, we should do a wedge formation for the archers. That'll be very effective. What if we could do a reverse wedge or a V? This will give them a little bit more damage and very good for these units because they sit in the back. Oh, listen to that music too, kicking off. But look at the losses that we took in an attack that was a surprise attack, and really we had an advantage on. So, but now the door's wide open, and now we know we're gonna have to build a lot bigger. So we're gonna need those frontline thralls. Hell yeah. Trebuchets would benefit us here too, because if we were able to push the line forward, we could take out these archer towers and then start hurting the downtown area. We could really cause some pain and make it difficult for them. But not bad for a medieval city builder, dark fantasy, survival, brutal game with the tyrannical leader being very hardcore, like brutal type, tactics in order to get your way and to keep control of your people. Very interesting and very ballsy to do. It's good to see. All right. Nice. The time we have today for Thrive, Heavy Lies the Crown, finally out now, 1.0. Again, get it with the link down below in the description. Grab a friend, enjoy single player, and thanks to Zagalu for sponsoring today's video, and thanks to all of you for tuning in, and we will certainly have more of this game in the future, well past its 1.0 full release, maybe future content, who knows, maybe DLCs, maybe a sequel, I don't know, but I'm well open to playing a lot more of this one and seeing them thrive. All right, well, thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you all next time. Leave a like, subscribe, and we'll see you all very soon.